Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. I'm Sarai, and today we're here with.
The one and only Zoe and Annette.
And today we're going to be talking about something that sounds pretty deep but actually connects a lot to our daily lives. Who are we when no one's watching? I'm Sarai, and I think this topic matters because our identity isn't only about what people see, it is also about what we choose to do privately.
Yes, I feel like we all act a certain way around family, teachers, or friends, but the way we act when we are alone usually shows what we actually believe. So this episode is about how our beliefs and values shape our identity, even when nobody else knows what we're doing.
And I'm Annette, and for me, this topic is very interesting because it makes me notice that our character doesn't just come from big dramatic situations. It comes from the everyday choices we make. So today, we'll share our opinions, personal examples, and even a book example to help explain how it works when the spotlight's not on us.
Okay, so first we're going to be talking about our own opinions. I feel like identity is built from a mix of things: what we believe, what we care about, and the values we grew up with. But the real test is the choices we make when nobody is there to judge us. Like, if I say kindness is important, but when I'm alone, I don't act that way, then am I really that kind of person? Those private moments kind of show this truth.
Yeah, I get that. I think a lot of our values come from our families or cultures, but we don't always notice them until we are alone. For example, I always say that honesty matters to me, but I didn't really understand how strong that value was until I had to make a choice without anyone else seeing. And it's in these quiet moments when you sort of understand who you actually are.
For me, identity isn't something that stays the same forever. I think it changed based on our experience. But values are like the base layer. And when we're alone, whether it's studying, making decisions, or even dealing with our emotions, those values show up. So I think identity is shown most honestly in private moments, not public ones.
So now we're going to be talking about like real life personal examples.
Okay, I have one real example. Once at a grocery store, the person in front of me dropped a hundred one pesos bill, and literally no one else saw it. I could have just walked away with it, and no one will know. But I felt uncomfortable even thinking about keeping it. So I picked it up and I gave it back to her. That moment showed me that honesty wasn't just something I say I believe in. It's actually part of who I am.
Actually, I had something similar happen to me. I was doing homework at school and found someone's AirPods under a table. Nobody was around. I could have taken them home, but I kept imagining how stressed I'd be if they were mine. So I turned them into the office. For me, this choice showed the empathy that is a big part of my values, thinking about how others feel, even if they'll never know what I did.
For me, it wasn't about an object, but more about self control. There was a day when I was like really frustrated and nobody was calm, and normally around people I keep myself calm. But when I'm alone, it's easy to let my emotions take over. So instead of screaming or throwing things like sometimes I do, I actually stopped myself and took a break. That made me realize that emotional control is something I value. Even if no one sees it, it was a quiet moment, but it taught me a lot about my identity.
And now we're going to be talking about some examples from literature books that we have read. A good example for this is a short story we recently read in our class. It's The Most Dangerous Game. When Rainsford is being hunted, he's completely alone. There's no one watching him or judging him or even rewarding him. But he still tries to act based on what he believes about fairness and survival, like his survival instincts and the hunting abilities he has gained over the years.
Yeah, that's what stood me out too. Rainsford easily could have turned into someone cruel like Sarov, especially because he was scared and desperate, but he didn't. Even without an audience, his values stayed strong. That shows how identity shows up in the moments when we don't have anyone guiding us or telling us what to do.
And that's what makes stories like that meaningful. Character shows their real identity in private, and I think that connects a lot to our own lives. We might not be running through a jungle, but everyday decisions, big or small, still show who we really are when no one's looking.
So,
So,
in conclusion,
yeah, so after talking about all this, I think the version of us when no one's watching is the most real. It's the part of ourselves that comes from our beliefs, not from social pressure.
yeah, and thinking about all of this helps us understand the kind of person we want to grow into. If we're proud of the choices we make alone, that means our values are guiding us.
Exactly. And hopefully, as we get older, we can keep making choices that match the person we want to be, not just public, but also in private. Thanks for listening to our episode. We hope it made you think a little about your own identity too.
Thank you.
Bye, you.
Bye.
Love you, teacher.